In this video, we talk about the Tesla's business in China, how good it is. In 2018, Tesla signed land contract with Shanghai government. In 2019 January, they had a groundbreaking event for the Gigafactory of Shanghai. Let's see what Tesla has signed up for. This paragraph is from Tesla's 10K for 2020. It's mentioned that Tesla needs to spend RMB, the Chinese currency, 14.08 billion as a capex on the land and generate 2.23 billion annual tax to the government. And apparently Tesla is very confident about the numbers. They said even far lower than the volume they're forecasting, they still be able to make it. And this is a foreign exchange number, and this investment is 2.16 billion, and tax revenue is $343 million per year. This table summarized the commitment on the land. The purpose is EV production. The area is 214 acres. The minimum commitment investment is $2.16 billion, so roughly 10 million per acre. The capacity will be 250,000 Model 3 and 250,000 Model Y. The tax revenue per year after fully ramp up is $343 million. Let's first estimate Shanghai Gigafactory's revenue. Shanghai Gigafactory is producing two models, Model 3 and Model Y, each with two trims. So there are some messages saying that there are about 70% low trim and 30% of high trim. Assume zero FSD take rate, ignore other incomes. So this is the average price for Model 3, multiply the volume, you got $11.1 billion per year. For Model Y, similarly, you got $13.8 billion revenue per year. So total auto revenue for Gigafactory Shanghai is $24.9 billion. Let's take a look about the profit and the cash flow estimation. Given the total income of roughly $25 billion, assume 25% of a gross margin. So this is published in the annual report of Tesla. And there are some rumors saying that the China could have a 32% of a gross margin. But here, to be conservative, we just use the corporate average gross margin. So the gross profit could be 6.225 billion. The depreciation has been considered here. We need to minus Shanghai levels OPEX and interest cost. So got $5.95 billion pre-tax profit. For the tax, we make a very simple assumption, and 15% income tax plus 13% VAT, value added tax. So the tax paid to government is 1.67 billion, which is about 5 times of the commitment. That's why Tesla was so confident about that. The after-tax profit is 4.3 billion. Adding back the depreciation, which is about $200 million, the cash flow is $4.5 billion at full capacity. Assume 250,000 Model 3 and 250,000 Model Y. This is the income side. For the investment side, the commitment is 2.16 billion land, building, equipment. The land cost is fixed. Let's assume that we have to spend 20% more on buildings and equipment for whatever reason. It's not highly possible given the strong Tesla China local team, but just assume 20% more. So the number inflated to $2.6 billion. So that is the total capex. On payback time side, we know the capex is $2.6 billion with increased cost on building and equipment. And we know that at full capacity, the annual cash flow is about $4.5 billion. So the payback time is about 0.6 years or 7 months. And that is a really good business, which can pay back in 7 months. If we consider the ramp-up process, Tesla Shanghai sold about 145,000 Model 3. So follow the similar process. We know that the cash flow of 2020 for Giga-Shanghai is $1.16 billion. So it's already paid back roughly 45% of the investment. So very likely within the first half of 2021, the full Shanghai Gigafactory will be paid back. And this is quite a conservative assumption because we already paid tax about $371 million in 2020. Most of the factories don't pay tax in the first year. The central and Shanghai governments treat Tesla very well. In 2019, Shanghai government provided Tesla $85 million incentive. Last year, 2020, again, Shanghai government provided Tesla $122 million incentives, and this published in Tesla's 10K in 2020. Central governments offered a cash subsidy for car sales, waived the vehicle purchase tax for EV, and free license plate for major cities. So there are many policies helping EV enterprises, including Tesla, to boost sales. For most of the investment projects, you will be happy to get 50% of a leverage from bank loan with the interest rate according to your credit rating. This table summarizes the bank loan Tesla got in China. The total number is $3.1 billion, excluding the first one, which is 1-year bridge loan. So the total investment is $2.6 billion, and Tesla got a credit facility about $3.1 billion. The coverage is 120%. So everything in China, the capex and the working capital, the interest are financed by the bank with very low interest rate, about 3.915%. And that is 10% off of Chinese 1-year benchmark interest rate. And that is the best interest rate you can get in China. Apparently, Shanghai government is not doing charity. Shanghai government is the most commercially savvy government in China. So they are benefiting from the Gigafactory. Shanghai becomes a leading EV manufacturer base in the world and creating tens of thousands stable jobs directly and several times more jobs on suppliers and many indirect jobs. They got stable and sizable tax revenues for many decades. And they have a large export volume to the rest of the world, and they got a trading surplus. Shanghai government also tightened the requirement for the new land to encourage Tesla to be more productive. For the first land, the main campus, there were no requirement on the revenue, and both parties were not very sure about the profitability of the factory, so they put a pretty low or reasonable tax target. That is why Tesla said even way below the forecasted volume, they still can make it. On the new land, which is supposed to be producing the Model 2, most likely, they put a new requirement on the revenue. With a small land, roughly half of the size of the main campus, they asked for $11.5 billion revenue per year. And again, 50% land, they asked for 90% of the tax compared to the mainland, the main campus. This is the summary of the talk. Tesla Shanghai Gigafactory has very strong cash flow, very short payback time, and extremely good returns. Giga-Shanghai is 100% local financed with debt, with excellent terms. So Tesla paid nothing, just put some numbers on his balance sheet. And Tesla's Giga-Shanghai earned full support from government because it provides a full new manufacturing business chain with tens of thousands direct and indirect jobs. It provides a solution to transportation, energy, and air pollution control, and also provide a large and stable tax revenue for decades. The government obtained financial and environmental benefits and showcased its commitments to continue to open to the world and establish win-win collaborations.
What attracts me most about China's 5-year plan is the tremendous commitment to a low-carbon economy and ultimately to a sustainable energy economy. In the 5-year plan, China is committed to reach peak carbon emissions sooner than 2030 and to have a sustainable energy economy by 2060. These are very aggressive goals, and I think they're great goals. I wish more countries actually had these goals. I'm very confident about Tesla's future in China. The Chinese economy, I think, is going to do extremely well over the next decade and will become the biggest economy in the world. and it's also committed to a sustainable energy future. And Tesla is doing both of those things. So we're building cars. We have China, I think long-term will be our biggest market, both where we make the most number of vehicles and where we have the most number of customers. I would like to strike an optimistic note and say that I'm very confident that the future in China is going to be great, and that China is headed towards being the biggest economy in the world and a lot of prosperity in the future. And this 5-year plan is going to be a part of making that prosperity happen.
That's it. Thank you for watching and welcome to subscribe.